G'day subscribers and welcome to FJ Holden Jive Talking. You're with Jules Knight outside of the FJ and Lockie's actually on the inside of the car. So today we are venturing to take the engine out. We shot a video a couple of weeks ago about the motor and you would have seen it all intact, but we've taken the, Lockie's under the dash there somewhere. We've taken the bonnet off. It's safely snugged up on the roof. But we've been working hard on the little project. So what have we done? Okay, so fuel lines off, carburetor off, regulator box off, wiring pushed in on the passenger side. We're yet to push in wiring on the driver's side yet, but we're just trying to get to the motor. So we've been at the front engine mounts. They're all off. All the spark plugs and spark plug leads are all off. And so the two things we need to do next are support the gearbox, remove the inspection plate off the gearbox while we're doing it, and lastly take off the engine mounts so it's ready for the lift. But things are going well. We're working out whether we take things out from the side because we're going to go straight up, so whether we do the side or whether we go from the front. So, excuse me, that will all be revealed as we're going along. But one of the things that I found with this one was, yesterday when I was trying to get the belt off, things are pretty tight in there. So I think that water pump is cactus. So I won't be worrying about that one. It is coming together, and we need to get the engine out so that we can drop the front suspension, because Rusty wants that in a couple of weeks' time. So that's a terrific thing. As we go around now, this was pretty messy, I have to say. There was mess all over this car, and I was just talking to the main owner of the vehicle just on the phone before, actually, Mark and Gillian in Melbourne own the car, and we were just going over a little bit of history for it, because there must have been some bang in the car, because the headlights were, one was a sealed beam, one was an FJ semi-sealed, there was EJ buckets, where there would be small bolts for the grille, well, it was just screws, and there was a mix of different threaded screws for the car as well. It was literally a mess. So I was just trying to ask Mark a few questions. So this car in general, it was a farmer's car outside of Melbourne, and he had it for quite some time after it was obviously converted by Cordell's at Elizabeth Street, I think Mark said, and a policeman bought it. But the farmer was out near Sea Lake, he said. So for whatever reason, this car, it must have had some damage in the front. The subframes are all good, that's not an issue, but the guards aren't great, and it's all higgledy-piggledy hardware here, and also on the other side. And the engine was replaced, as we've talked about, with a Victoria Police stamped engine, but at the same time, they've painted black, which was a common practice after purchase, whenever things were done up, shall we say, in the day. A lot of firewalls were black. My Ute was black. My NASCO panel van was black. However, Lachlan got stuck into this last night, and this is besides the inside of the car, the only original paint, and it's come up beautiful. And you look at it and you wish, well, that's original, that's been resprayed. Why couldn't they have just left it? Because it's a so much better paint from General Motors. And we had a look along it. Lockie, point out where the run is. Where?
There's a run there.
So there's a run there from factory there, and there's a run from factory over there. Now, they obviously haven't worried about it, because it is how it is, and the bonnet was going to be down and no one was going to see it, so they haven't cared about it. But having said that, when I did my Ute and I tried to present it as a factory type of car, I remember the same thing actually happened to me, but in my instance it was over on this side of the car. Now here we've taken away the regulator boxes. We were stripping things out, but there's 5 holes here that need to be filled. So we'll weld them up and dolly them down, so that's fine. And I don't know if that was a heater. I would suspect it probably was, because it certainly wasn't a Trico windscreen washer, because there's sort of no evidence for that on top. Oh, and just as a handy hint, as we go, we actually put things in labelled Ziploc bags as we're going to, just to make it easy to put things back together. But that's if it is obviously original and ready to roll. But look, we are getting there. This poor little motor, it'll be out shortly, and then we'll be able to you know, get on with cleaning all this down. This has all got to be sorted out, and then, you know, obviously the apron panels sorted, because they should be semi-gloss black. Obviously body color for the firewall. But we definitely are getting there. We've got some work to do over on the driver's side, and I've had a good look at it. You know, they've put this plate in here so they could elongate the battery that went in here, but you know, that can certainly be done in a better way. And they've got all of this, it looks like bitumen. So I've been tapping away at that yesterday and today with a chisel. So you know, by the time we're finished, that'll all be cleaned up. I don't even care if whatever's left over, I just hit with the wire brush and remove all of that, or you know, if there's any solution I can use to lift it, it'll all happen. But yes, it does need a lot of work, but we are getting there, and it's obviously a good teaching tool for my son, so I can actually, you know, do another restoration with him. He helped me last time with the Mustang, and we got a good end result. But now that we're getting fair income and doing a Holden, well, that's a whole different kettle of fish. But you know, good to see on this one. You know, we've got, you know, plug in the water pump. I remember when we first brought my mate's 56 out. Okay, we're back live, and I was just saying that this number on this car is 54 under my buddy's, and on my buddy's car, he had his 56. He had the fuel lines the same as mine, which actually came around here and came straight into the carburetor, instead of the earlier models that came up and were at a 90 degrees where the flange went into the needle and seat. So you know, he had a lot of judges here saying, oh no, your fuel lines aren't right, you shouldn't have that, you need to change that. And believe it or not, the air cleaner that was on this car, because don't forget, my car and his car, and also Tristan's panel van, were manufactured after the FE had been introduced. And you can see they also picked him up for having this plug. Now, being Melbourne cars, well, that's certainly one way that you could actually have hot water to the heater. So in a lot of instances, you're dealing with technical people or judges who don't know, or don't know everything, shall we say. So yeah, so in my case, this was good. Now, in a lot of FJ Holdens, you'll actually see around this area here the name of the colour written. So what would happen is, on the morning of manufacturer, or whatever was the case, the supervisor would look at his sheet on his clipboard and go, okay, well, we need 3 Swanston green, we need 3 ocean mist green, we need a dozen sky grey and whatever. So he would actually go around and he would write on the car what they need, what colour is needed to be painted on that vehicle. So, you know, that certainly became a favourite way for the supervisors to actually do that. But look, this car is certainly the most challenging one I've had. It doesn't rival my first rebuild with my FJ Ute, in the fact that, you know, that Ute just fell apart, whereas this one, it is really a struggle with everything. You know, I know Mark and Gillian did everything they could to look after the car while they had it. But I think the level of higgledy-piggledy was actually done beforehand by the policeman who's had it reupholstered and resprayed and whatever. But in some places you've got to sort of consider, less is more. Particularly, when you think about, that paintwork, that original paintwork there. Gee, I wish the whole car was like that. It would just be a different kettle. G'day, Lachlan. How you going? So yeah, he's busy pulling the bolts out for the inner guards and making sure that things don't fall down the A-pillars. So that's his job, and we've actually got the sky hook, the sky hooks in place, ready to roll. So yes, there we are. I think we're done for getting ready. We're nearly ready to roll on FJ Holden Jive Talking, with pulling out the grey motor on this one. But please don't forget, share, like and subscribe, but more importantly, enjoy your Holden.